Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, barflies. It is morning here. This is why I have my coffee. All right, so this is going to be a quickie episode this week. We were supposed to have Whiskey Brothers Slade Ham on the podcast, but sometimes life and schedules, they just don't work together with the podcast world. So instead, we're going to do a little quickie episode. Slade was supposed to do Ramble On by Led Zeppelin. And when we reschedule him, maybe we'll have him do that again. But Jeremy Essig had already put together his 6 Degrees of Tommy Stinson, connecting Led Zeppelin to the bassist of The Replacements, a segment we do every week. And he did such a good job this week, like he does every week. But this one made me laugh multiple times, and I cannot let this week go without you guys hearing it. So, and stay tuned afterwards because I have a few more things I want to cover. But right now, let's hear this week 6 Degrees of 6 Degrees of Tommy Stinson with comedian Jeremy Essig. Enjoy.
Hey friends, welcome to our weekly exploration of music history and trivia, 6 Degrees of Tommy Stinson. This week we're going to find a way we can connect the blues-based classic rock of Zeppelin to the punk-infused indie rock of The Replacements, which it turns out we can do in one step. That step, of course, Puff Daddy! Yes, believe it or not, Puff Daddy, or Diddy, or P. Diddy. Look, I don't want to offend him. I plan on doing that later. My overall point is that Diddy recorded with both Tommy Stinson and Jimmy Page in the late 90s. And while I'd like to focus more on his collaboration with Stinson on 1997's It's All About the Benjamins Shot Caller Rock remix, I feel our time is worse spent focusing on his collaboration with Jimmy Page, 1998's Come With Me. To be honest, while I knew Come With Me existed, I had never listened to the song, the lead single from the Godzilla soundtrack, and now that I have, I think it's fair to say this song is as bad as the monster remake that spawned it. In fact, I might go out on a limb and say this is the worst song I have ever heard. Look, I've been around a lot of musicians since I was 16. I'm sure I've heard worse songs. That said, in terms of commercially released songs that made the Billboard Top 10, I'm not being hyperbolic. I'm pretty sure this is the worst song I've ever heard. Now, as opposed to many hip-hop artists like Run DMC or Two Live Crew who mix together samples from classic rock songs, the music here, in typical Puffy fashion, well, look, he just had Jimmy Page re-record Kashmir. That's all this is. He just re-recorded Kashmir. So do you know how bad the lyrics to this have to be to make the music from Kashmir suck? Let's examine Puffy's lyrics, shall we? Certainly you fooled me, ridiculed me, left me hanging, now shit is boomeranging. Shit is boomeranging. And he moves on to the third verse. Fuck my enemies, fuck my foes, damn these hoes, you're stepping on my toes. Yep. You're stepping on his toes. That's the problem, you hoes. And yet still, he gets to the climax, which involved, I'm gonna take you with me, I wanna fight you, I'll fucking bite you, can't stand nobody like you. Look, if you want to drill down on how truly bad this is, I highly recommend finding the live version he did with Page on a VH1 award show where Diddy looks more uncomfortable on stage than a first-time open mic comedian. So there you have it. Jimmy Page to Puff Daddy to Tommy Stinson, all connected through Come With Me, the worst song ever, which I bring up mostly to say if you have a family member you want to stay away from you during Thanksgiving, I highly recommend playing this song. All right, that's 6 Degrees of Tommy Stinson. I'm Jeremy Essig. Back to Diane and Ben.
Did you guys laugh? I laughed a lot on that one. I thought that was extremely well done. Thank you, Jeremy, as usual. That was amazing. So next week on the podcast, we are going to have our first guest from across the pond. I am so excited to have Irish comedian Brian Gallagher. Oh, no relation. I pronounce my last name Gallagher. He pronounces it, and I think all of Ireland, and I probably should too, but I don't. They pronounce it Gallagher. So it's Irish comedian Brian Gallagher is going to be on the podcast. And I want to tell you guys, the way I found Brian is, back in 2017, our house flooded in Hurricane Harvey. And someone tipped me off to this really funny YouTube site that's a bunch of Irish comedians trying things. they try like alcohol, food, and I think the one that got me hooked is they had them eating different types of cooked animal testicles. And I laughed really, really hard. And it was one of those things that would just kind of get me through the long days of having my house rebuilt. And I really fell in love with the channel and with these Irish people on this podcast. And they will just charm your pants off. So if you were already watching this on YouTube, you're already on YouTube. Go find the Try channel, TRY, Try channel, and have a really good time watching them. They're really, really awesome, charming Irish folks. And Brian Gallagher is one of the comedians that's a regular on there. And Brian is hopefully, once we all stab ourselves with a COVID vaccine, is going to come to America soon to do some stand-up comedy. So let's build an audience for Brian, yeah? It is a Patreon vote week, and I've already put it out to the Patreon members. Brian has chosen to do Blur. Everybody remember Blur from the 90s? And he put these 3 songs up to vote. It is Girls and Boys, The Universal, and Coffee and TV. So if we got some more Blur fans out there, and you're going to want to tune into that, and, you know, join Patreon and vote on which song is your favorite if you'd like to. Let's see, is that all I had to say to you guys this week? Sorry, it was just a quickie, but I wanted to give you guys something. And like I said, I found Jeremy's 6 Degrees very entertaining this week. As usual, special thank you to Chuck Savage and Eddie Hawkins for our amazing intro music. If you would like to support the podcast, you can do a quick financial $5 a month on our Patreon and get early access to every episode and voting rights on our Patreon week songs. And we'll get you some swag. We'll get you some koozies and some stickers and some pop rocks and some fun goodies. But the best thing you can do to help us is just share an episode with your friends, with your family. I like to tell people to go to the Goodbye Horses episode. That's back when it was just me and Ben doing this solo without guests. But the Goodbye Horses episode has such a great story, and it's one of my favorites. I was going to put the beginning link of the story here, but we didn't have visuals back then. We weren't recording face-to-face. So I'm just going to have you guys go listen to it on your own. So check out the Try channel. Go check out some of our older episodes this week, and we will see you again next week, Thanksgiving Day. Hope you guys are having a safe and happy Thanksgiving. See you Thursday.